Good? Okay. Okay, Shalom Aleichem. The Mishnah of Chafei and Sukkah steht as a Cholen und Shamsheim PTUR in a Sukkah. That means not only the Cholen himself is spotted from eating, drinking, sleeping in the Sukkah, even someone that's be Meshamish to Cholen is also potter. So try to first be mazbeh exactly what the PTUR of Cholen is, what the PTUR of Meshamish HaCholen is it the same PTUR, is it a separate PTUR? Let's first talk about Cholen. So l'chayr you could say the PTUR of Cholen is, like a Cholen is potter, we know Cholen sheyesh b'sakona, is potter in kol mitzvahs, v'chai b'hem, v'lo yiyamas b'hem. But l'chayr you can't say that, because we'll see soon, this PTUR of Cholen is even my Cholen sheyesh b'sakona. Not like that, maybe even a meichesh is potter. So that there's no PTUR v'chai b'hem, v'lo yiyamas b'hem. So there has to be a different PTUR. The Ochaner, where he tells this kasha, he says, "Masha potter loy mitam t'chiyas mitzvahu, she'ein d'chiyah ela mokem sakana." And we're not talking about over here that this chayla is a shadow of sakana. So Mela, we need a pshat. What is the PTUR of chayla here? So Meiri steht das so: "V'tam kulam teishu kein taduru, ve'ei matrichim la'odam b'yosef b'chayla lamed mokem shemazakla." That means the yesod of many PTURim of sukkah has to do with teishu kein taduru. That a person is only muchid to sit in the sukkah the way he normally do during the year. And a person wouldn't sit in a place that is bimazik. So a person's a chayla, and by being in the sukkah, it's bimazikim, even if it's not a question of a sakana. So it doesn't make a difference. But Lamaisa, he wouldn't sit in a place that is going to harm him, and therefore it's a PTUR of teishu kein taduru. As I state in Miri, as I state in Asach, other Rishonim, the Ra, the Bein HaMelech, all say the same idea. The Bein HaMelech says the Shpach, Mohela zeh choyle kol hashana, v'yoshev bebeisa mokim sheyirtzu yochav yishnachas aver. He'll go in a place that's going to be more comfortable for him. And as I bring the Lavush, and the Mishabur brings it down this way. Mishabur brings down a Sifkot and Vav, Pshundach Siv, Teishu kein taduru, Mohela zeh choyle kol hashana, v'yoshev bebeisa dafka l'hoylech mokim shnokol b'chayv. He's going to go to a place that's going to be easier for his sickness. Oh, so we know clear that the PTUR of a chayla is because it's teishu kein taduru. Teishu kein taduru is mechayiv, that you're not mechayiv to sit in the sukkah only the way you would sit in your house. If you would be in a house in a place that is staring you because you're not feeling well and you're not comfortable, you go somewhere else if that's going to make you more comfortable. So melahud in a sukkah, you're not mechayiv to sit, eat, drink in a sukkah, sleep if it's going to stare you because of your chayla. Now, what type of chayla are we talking about? So the Braisa on the Avchavav steht as so: Tanarabon, choyle shamu lo choyle sheyesh b'sakana. Ela afilu choyle sheyesh b'sakana. Even a choyle sheyesh b'sakana, afilu chosh beinov, afilu chosh b'roisher. So the Braisa over here tells about three types of choylem. There's a choyle sheyesh b'sakana, choyle sheyesh b'sakana, and chosh b'roisher. This musig of these three types of choylem, is you find Hilchos Shabbos. You look in Shin Chav Ches. You find there's three types of choylem on Shabbos. They have different halachas. The halacha of a choyle sheyesh b'sakana. Choyle sheyesh b'sakana means is a matzah b'sakonas and forshus. The halacha is kol ha'torah kula is nitch for such a choyle. Then there's a halacha of a choyle sheyesh b'sakana. That's brought down in Shulchan Aruch Sif Yud Zayin. Choyle sheyesh b'sakana means someone is either nofel mishkov, it means he's in bed, machmas is choyle, or it's choyle kol haguf. He has a terrible toothache that it's hard for him to function because of that. He has a terrible earache. He has a severe headache. That's called choyle she'ein bo sakana. That means a choyle, but she'ein bo sakana. Their halacha is, halacha, they're allowed to do any issa drabonon ad yeshina. Or, you can do whatever you want. But more than that's not mutter. And then you have something called a meichesh. A meichesh means someone that just has a headache. He has a toothache, but not something that's taking him over. He has something else hurting him in his guf. All these cases, halacha is, you now do any issa. Not only that, there's issa do any, put on any medicines also. But that's what the Mechaber is saying over here. I mean, it's really the Gemara is saying over here, L'gabi Sukkah, all these three categories are the same, that they all have a PTUR. Choyle sheyesh b'sakana, choyle she'ein b'sakana, and a meichesh. And the reason why it's takacholik from Shabbos is, like we said, because if the PTUR be out v'chayim v'lo yishyamus, then about a staff choyle sheyesh b'sakana. Even the guy being Chodesh Shem B'Sakon on Shabbos, we find there's I found there's a PTUR. That's the Chia. Is Rabbon B'Shina Chazal Matter. But a Mechish, that they weren't matter anything. But over here, it's not a part of trying to even matter something. It's not a heter will come to matter something. The heter is based on Teishu Kein Duru. It's not Teishu Kein Duru. And therefore, even if someone just has a Mechish B'Alma, it's not a problem. So it comes out, Loi Mi Boy, if you have someone that's a Chodesh Yesh B'Sakona, Avada, let's say someone there's a cancer patient, there's something else, someone's a Chodesh Yesh B'Sakona, Avada, he has a heter to eat, sleep out of the sukkah, if that's going to make an afkimina, like we'll see soon. Or someone's a Chodesh Shem B'Sakona. Someone has fever. Someone has a 101 fever, 102 fever. He's in bed. He's sleeping in the sukkah. It's not so geschmack for him. It's not going to be able to sleep so good. Then he has a PTUR. But not only that, even if someone has a beard cold, it's not a question that's going to come into any chashash of even a Chodesh Shem B'Sakona. Ava Pikin, he's uncomfortable. He's allowed to sleep in his house. Now, for states of this heter, like I mentioned, is only if by being in the sukkah, it's stirring his chayla of yesh b'sakona, ein b'sakona mechish, and by going in the house, it's going to make it better. But if it's no difference to him, if he's in the house, out of the house, about it, there's no PTUR, because the PTUR is teishu kein duru. So someone's going to be in his house, and he's not feeling well. So if he's going to go to a different room, it's going to make him feel better. For shteitzach, go. But there's no place he's going to go that's going to make it any better. For shteitzach, even his house is going to stay in the room. So for shteitzach, by sukkah also is no PTUR. And this is mafurish an HaRav. HaRav says, that means the sukkah is shred to machmas is chayli and mishur is doch bekitzer. Im hoye zeh chayli kol shon al yesh beisay dafka el hoye hoylach el makon shenokol el choyev. He would go to a place which is going to make it easier. So if it's cold outside, if he has a cold, he's going to go inside. If he's in his house and one room is cold and he has a cold, obviously he's going to go to a room that's warmer. That's the din of Teishu Kein Duru. There's a Meiri that already says this. The Meiri says, a person is chaylev, we're not matrich him to stay in a place that would be mazakim. And the other Shaidim also say this, and the Yisod Dvarim is because Teishu Kein Duru tells us that's exactly the way he would fear in his house. He would only stay in a place that's comfortable, and if he's not comfortable, there's no he would not stay that. The same thing, Gabi Sukkah would be the same thing Teishu Kein Duru. So what comes out is that we have a PTUR of CHOLEH. The PTUR of CHOLEH is a PTUR because of Teishu Kein Duru, and CHOLEH is CHOLEH, all the categories of CHOLEH on Shabbos. CHOLEH sheyesh b'sakona, CHOLEH she'ein b'sakona, and a mechish. All three categories have a PTUR of Teishu Kein Duru. So it doesn't make a difference if someone's mamash sick like a CHOLEH sheyesh sakona, or he just has fever, or just has a bit headache, or has a cold. All these cases would have a PTUR of Teishu Kein Duru, and he would be permitted to eat, drink, sleep out of the sukkah, that's going to make the difference, and it'll make him feel better. Oh. Now the Mishnah says another point. Choylin u'misham sheim. That not only is the PTUR l'gabi the CHOLEH, it's a PTUR l'gabi misham CHOLEH. So what is the PTUR l'gabi the misham CHOLEH? I mean, someone that's there to misham the CHOLEH. So there's three mahalchim in the Gedolei Achronim, maybe in the Shainim, how to understand what the PTUR of misham CHOLEH. We're going to go through it. The Levush says the PTUR misham CHOLEH is sick mitzvah. If someone is sick and you're helping the person, you're mishamish, you're giving whatever he needs. So you have a PTUR. Why you say mitzvah? As I state in Levush, the Shulchan HaRav and the Mishabura all go this mahalach Levush that it's patra, I say mitzvah. The HaShulchan has a very big problem with this mahalach because he says the head of mitzvah is only if someone does a bechina. What happens if you have someone who's a mishamish, but he gets paid? Whatever he gets paid, $25 an hour, $50 an hour, he gets paid for his work. He's a nurse, and he gets paid to mishamish to schayla. So he says a PTUR of oisim mitzvah, pata mitzvah, you don't have only if you're doing it bechinam. But if you're doing a mitzvah b'schar, straight in our HaShulchan, there's no heter of oisik b'mitzvah pata mitzvah. Maybe because of that, he says that it has to be that the reason why misham she'ah chayla pata is for the same reason the chayla is pata. The pata al teishu kein duru. Just like the chayla goes to a place where it's comfortable, so the mishamish goes together with him. The Orchaner, also on the Sugya, says that the PTUR of misham shechayla is the same PTUR of misham shechayla. Why? Al teishu kein duru. And he's mazbah, like I said, the kivon shechayla tzarech loy Kamoi shehoya choyle yoytze medibasoi came mishu meshamish lechoyle hayigam ken yoytze me'asukkah. Now the Ochaner doesn't explain us what is hechach. What is hechach? Why he learned this way? Why didn't he learn like the other Soraisa mitzvah patan mitzvah? But to look in Taisus Bikurim is a sophist that the Ochaner writes in the back of his sefer. So he writes over there that l'chayri you can't say the pshat in Oisik of Misham Shechayil that's Oisik mitzvah patan mitzvah. You know why? Because Teinuch, if someone does bechinam, what happens if someone does beschar? If Hadas Pashas don't have the Oisik mitzvah patan mitzvah, and he says now Mashma in the Mishnah and all the Paiskin they bring down that there's a head to Misham Shechayil that the mitzamsim that halacha dafka for someone that's doing a dafka ben chinam. So maybe beherch you have to say, like I wrote in our Chaner, the Torah's als teishu came to do. And that is, I think from the Rishonim all like them, because the Rishonim mentioned before, the Miri, the Ra, when they speak about the PTUR of CHOLEH, that the PTUR of CHOLEH is teishu came to do, they don't only say legabi CHOLEH, they say legabi misham shechayil. So it's very clear that they're going like the Chaner and the HaShukkah that the PTUR misham shechayil is also als teishu came to do. But the Mishnah Berurah, like I mentioned before, and the Levush, go at Oisei mitzvah patan mitzvah. But it's going to be chal on them, the kasha of the Orchaner, the kasha of the HaShukkah. That l'chayra Oisei mitzvah patan mitzvah is only if you're doing it be'echinam, not beschar. You can tell me they're gonna zet ein the whole halach over here only if you're doing it be'echinam. It's very namashra way, just like chole's pater cholefen. Who are the Misham Shechayil is part of the Choleh? It's very shred to make it that it's talking about only in such a case of Bechinam. So Pashi have to say that and the Chanami Mishmur argues with them. They never hanocha that if someone's oisik b'mitzvah b'schar, you don't get it in a patan mitzvah. Mechadesa. Mishmur holds maybe that someone's oisik mitzvah is patan mitzvah even if you're doing it b'schar. The emes is that we have a gilui. What the Mishnah Berurah teaches about this. There's a Mishnah Berurah about this. There's a Bi'alacha, Simon Lamed Ches. Talks about it. He's talking in Hilchos Tefillin. He talks about this shaila, being a big shaila in the Achronim. If Oisei mitzvah patan mitzvah is even when you're doing it b'schar. So he says over there like this. He makes a chiluk. Depends. If I'm doing a hechsher mitzvah, so he says even though a hechsher mitzvah would have a Torah Oisei mitzvah, but then if you're doing b'schar, you don't have it. But if I'm being Oisei with the gufa mitzvah, it doesn't make a difference if you're not getting paid for it. So Mishnah Berurah's case is talking about someone's writing stamp. So even though he's getting paid, it doesn't make a difference. Since if someone, let's say, would be making the cloth, or he's in tannery, something like that, in the Chanami, he's getting paid, that doesn't have a Torah Oisei mitzvah. So Dr. Mishnah Berurah, but someone is doing the mitzvah itself, someone's writing a Sefer Torah, someone's writing tefillin that is Oisei with the kufa mitzvah, it doesn't make a difference. Even if he gets paid, he has a heter of Oisei b'mitzvah, patan mitzvah. Okay, so then like that, the Mishnah Berurah Shitas is gewaltig, because this Misham Shechayil, he's not talking about that it's Oisei behechsher mitzvah. This Misham Shechayil is being Misham Shechayil. That itself is the gufa mitzvah. So Mela, it's good that the Mishnah Berurah says that the PTUR of Misham Shechayil is Oisei mitzvah patan mitzvah. Fake the Orchaner, fake the HaShukkah. What do you mean? Auto beschar is the head of Oisei mitzvah patan mitzvah. That is yes. The Mishnah Berurah holds that if you're doing beschar, you're being oisik with the gufa mitzvah, not just the hechsher mitzvah, avad you can have a PTUR of oisik mitzvah, patan mitzvah. So upon this, the second mahalach we're saying to learn pshat in the PTUR misham shechayla that it's mitzah teishuv came to duru, and the Mishnah Berurah learns as oisik mitzvah patan mitzvah, but these are going to not want to learn how oisik mitzvah patan mitzvah because they hold that would not pat you if you're doing it beschar, and the Mishnah Berurah Shitosai holds that would pat you even if you're doing it beschar. Now, there's a third pshat, how to learn the PTUR of Misham Shechayla. There's a pshat in Taisus Bikurim in the back of the Orchaner. He says a third pshat. He wants to say that's patan within mitzdayer. Why? Because if I'm a Misham Shechayla the right way, that I'm daiging about all the strachim of the chayla, whatever the chayla needs. So if the chayla is going to go inside the house, I'm going to be very nervous. Maybe he needs something. Maybe he needs a drink. Maybe he has to go lie down. So I myself, I'm not going to be miyushiv when I'm saying in the sukkah. So mela mitzad of PTUR mitzdayer, I'm going to be potter. There's an interesting there's a truth in Shvus Yankiv that he was asked that there was someone in the Kahal over there that was hired by the Kahal that he should take care of the Cholim. And the shadow was, is he bechuyev to go into the sukkah? So the Shvus Yankiv over there says, Mamash Svara. He says, nearly the potem sukkah legamri, kivin shum muskalis mashamish achoyle chol trachov, ulashgiach olav, lasis pulosoi, shleimo bamuna, im yelech lecha b'sukkah avle mitzayir, b'tzara achoyle shadayt lav tamid. That means this person, if he's doing it b'amuna, he's going to be very nervous that the cholim are not going to get that proper care. And mainly his potter alt mitzayir. Never states if the was mitzayir, he's telling what the case is. Let's say you can have a person that he takes his job, he does it just for the money, he has no connection with the person, and if you tell him he has to eat in the sukkah, fine, no problem. He'll get disconnected from the chayla and his gate in the shton. If Rahman you have such a person like that, then you wouldn't have. But if a person takas mitzayir and he feels the pain of the person is so fadaiget that maybe the person's going to need him, it comes out there saying there's a PTUR of mitzayir. So let's be misakim what we have over here. The PTUR of chayla is potter mitzah teishuk ein duru. The PTUR of a shamshe chayla, we're saying there's three mahalchim. The levush, udime, and the shabur goes that way, is the PTUR's oisik b'mitzvah potter and mitzvah. The kash of the chayning oisik mitzvah potter and mitzvah is only by bechinu not b'schar. We said the Mishavul Shitosai holds that even if you do it b'schar, if you're being oisik b'gufa mitzvah, you have the head of oisik mitzvah potter and mitzvah. Second mahalach is the mahalach of the Orchaner, the HaRav, that the PTUR is not the oisik mitzvah potter and mitzvah, because they hold that bechinam, you have that, but not b'schar. And maybe they say, Akoch, you have to say that the heter over here is mitzad teishuk ein dur, just like the chayla. And we said the Rishayim mash that way. And the third mahalach is that Seves Bikurim is because mitzayir. That means the chayla is going to be at a sukkah, and the one that's mishamish is very fadaiget. Is he getting what he needs? Is he not getting what he needs? And Mela, he's not going to be able to be miyushavdik. And Mela is going to be mitzayir. And we said, as I state in Shvus Yankiv, this mahalach also. So it comes out we have three mahalachim here, how to understand what the PTUR of Mesham She'echayl is. Is a PTUR like the Mishabura says, oisik mitzvah? Is a PTUR like the Orchaner and the HaRav say, mitzah teishuk ein duru? Or a PTUR is like the Tosis Bikurim and the Shvus Yankiv say, mitzad mitzayir. And the Chayr is three nafkiminas you could say between these three studim. One nafkimina is if you're doing a b'schar. So if the PTUR is teishuk ein duru, you still have a heter. If the PTUR is mitzad b'stayir, b'schar you also have it. Mashenkein, like the first sad, so it depends. Like the Orchaner, the HaRav, you're not going to have a heter if it's b'schar, because b'schar is no dinner way mitzvah potem mitzvah. But we said Mishabul Shitosai holds that you'll have this heter even if someone does a b'schar. The second afkimin is what happens if he's taken a mitzvah with the tzar chayla. So like the first two started, he's still oisik mitzvah. He still has a dinner teishuk ein duru. But you want a pattern, ultimate there you can't. And the third nafkamin l'chayr is what happens if someone wants to sit in the sukkah and make a bracha. So it's oisik mitzvah. Okay, he has a PTUR, but Maisa sitting in the sukkah, l'chayr can make a bracha. If that's a chasar teishu, that's not the derech to be in the sukkah case, l'chayr you can't make a bracha. Unless you say right now he is in the sukkah, maybe he could make a bracha. Basically, if he's mitzvah, if that is the regular dinner mitzvah, the l'chayr can't make a bracha. Upon him, those are the three studim how to learn what is the heter of Mesham Shechayl. Now, Agav, very interesting, this Imre Bina has an Orachayim Simiyud Gimel, he has a big arichis, if someone is oisik b'mitzvah d'rabanan, if that's going to pater him on a mitzvah d'raisa. You would say, how could being oisik mitzvah d'rabanan pater in a mitzvah d'raisa? So I'm not going to get into how it could happen, this Kama Biur Bezeh, but that's a shayla. So he says, "L'chayr have a kol raya from a Gemara." So in unser Gemara we're learning now, l'chayr have a raya. What's the raya? Because he says, you look at Rama Perak Yudalat Hilchos Avelis says that it's a mitzvah sheish shel devreim. That means Rabban Gedin levaker cholim lachem avelim. That means to be take care of cholim is Rabbanon the Gedin. So he says, "Mesham shechayil is part of oisik mitzvah." No, but what have mitzvah being oisik with? You being oisik with a mitzvah Rabbanon. So how can it pater you from sukkah? So it must be that from here it's gespart that someone's oisik for mitzvah rabbanon, it can pater you on a deristic level. I say straight in Mebina. Talk to Mebina, no, it's not a riot. I can tell you a different chat in our sugya. The pshat in our sugya is Al Teishuk ein duru. It's a special halacha legabe sukkah. About an allgemein, if you can have someone that's oisik by mitzvah drabonon, about that's not going to pat you from mitzvah deraisa. Tefillin. Someone's oisik with a mitzvah pat is part of a tefillin. But if it's only oisik mitzvah drabonon, sagt maybe about it's not going to pat you from tefillin. But sukkah is a special svar. Meli says, you find the Rambam says the sheshbinim is part of from sukkah. That's the Gemara. But he says, you don't find in Rambam state, but it's part of from tefillin. Teretz is the only being oisik in a mitzvah rabbanon of achos kala. Maybe it's only a shalom mitzvah rabbanon. That's not going to pat you. Ad kan toichen divrei imebina. Okay, but the Mishnah Bura does learn that the sugya is a sugya vayitz mitzvah part of the mitzvah. And as I state in Levush, so choileh dem, you have back the imebina's raya. His whole tichur and the raya is to say that the pshat the sugya is not mitzvah oisik mitzvah, but it's mitzvah teishu kein neduru. But according to Mishnah Bura that learns that the PTUR now sugya over here is oisik mitzvah part of the mitzvah. The choileh is a raya from this sugya that oisik mitzvah rabbanon is part of mitzvah deraisa. So someone's going to ask you the shaila. If oisik mitzvah rabbanon is part from a mitzvah rabbanon, the choileh is totally how to learn the sugya. If the pshat now sugya that oisik mitzvah part of the mitzvah, so you have a raya. If the pshat the sugya is otherwise, mitzad mitzdayer, what they should do, there's no raya. But you could match even like the Mishnah Bura shita. Because Orchaner writes Afchafei, and Keinze he writes in the Koryankiv, that he also speaks of the Shail of Oisik Mitzvah Rabban, Patizu from the Raisa. And he says, the Choy have a different place, have a Rai from the Gemara. Because it says that the Amaroyim didn't eat in the Sukkah when they went Kabel Reish HaGoyla. And that's only the Rabbanon. So Choy writes have a Rai. So it's not a Raya. He says that Kabbalah Shavah Regel maybe Mekayim Mitzvah the Raisa, Shem Lekechatir, some Murdi Gazach. He says that someone from Kabbalah Rabbi Regel could be Mekayim Mitzvah Deraisa. And then he says, also they went to hear Joshua. He says, Talmud Torah Mitzvah Deraisa. But he says, the L'chai have a right that even a Mitzvah Rabbanon is going to pater. And he says that even a Rabbanon is going to pater, because he says, since the Mitzvah Rabbanon is, if you don't do a Rabbanon, you mevatel the Loisosa, which is the Raisa, that could pater. So maybe he holds that even though it's not Bucher, for that Chelik of the Sugya, but in Svara he hears that a mitzvah rabbanon could pater the Raisa. Ad kan toichen divrei orchener. In Taisa Bikum over there, he brings down different letters that people sent him. So he says he got a letter that what's his whole suffix? If a mitzvah rabbanon could pater a mitzvah Raisa, and he brings a raya from what? From the ones that went to Makabel Rabbi and says, no, it's not a raya. Makabel Rabbi is the Raisa. He says, what do you mean? Why didn't they bring a klor raya? From the din of Cholim Shamsheim. Cholim Shamsheim is potter. Why is Shamsheim potter? As Oisik Mitzvah potter mitzvah. So it's a klor raya that what? That someone's Oisik Mitzvah Rabbanon is potter from a mitzvah deraisa of Yeshiva Sukkah. So he says, no, from there I didn't bring a raya. You know why? You know, it's a medical lesson. You see, the Orchaner brings a shaila, he brings a raya from one place, says matra. Then they ask him why to bring another raya. But if he wouldn't have printed that letter, he wouldn't even know what the Orchaner holds. But he tells us that's not a raya. He says, first of all, this whole Nakuda, to say that's only a Shal Rabbanon, that's not so poshut. Even though the Rambam says that Pika Cholim is Divrei Seifrim, because the Rambam says that's all B'chal Mitzvahs, B'haf D'Recha Kamoicha. So he says, Avadas D'Raisa. There's a Kima D'Raisa. Now, first, it's a Din Rabbanon, that's the way you should be Mekayim D'Raisa of B'haf D'Recha Kamoicha. But someone does it, Avadas Mekayim D'Raisa, B'haf D'Recha Kamoicha. And then he says, B'klal, your whole kasha, your whole raya is a tayis. You understood that the heter of mishamshei achayla is mitzad. Oisik mitzvah potter mitzvah is not the pshat. The pshat is mitzad teishu kein duru. So they have a raya. What's my raya? Because if someone does b'schar, he's not oisik mitzvah potter mitzvah. So must be the ptur has teishu kein duru, like we said before. Upon him, that's what he says. Or you could say alt mistayir. Another reason. So Hamiyas. Getting back to Mishnah Bura, we want to know if there's a raya from our sugya that a mitzvah rabbanon could pater the raisa. We're talking about mitzvah rabbanon over here, the mitzvah of bikei cholim. That's mishamshei cholim. Is the raya made a mitzvah rabbanon could pater the raisa? Say if you learn the sugya, teishu kein do, there's no raya. If you learn the sugya mistay, there's no raya. But even if you go like the Mishnah Bura that learns the sugya mitzvah pater the mitzvah, it's not muchadik raya from our sugya, because you could say that maybe tackle. It's nichlal in the Hafarecha Kamoicha, and you're talking Mekayim Mitzvah the rice. Oh. Now, the shah is like this. we have Meshamshe CHOLEH. So when the Meshamshe CHOLEH potter? So the Meir brings B'Shem Chachmei L'Nil, the Meshamshe CHOLEH only potter B'Shas when the Cholim need them. And he says, Inli Misyashe B'Zeh, because the Meshamshe don't really know exactly when the Cholim is going to need them, so maybe the potter always. I mean, they have to be muchen always for the Cholim. The Machaben Torfei Shmim Sif Gimel brings down the Chachmei L'Nil. Yesh Misha'ima, She'ena Meshamshe B'Turim, El B'Shosh HaCholim Tzorech Lem. For Orchos Chaim. That's the Chachmei L'Nil. So B'chad brings that Yesh Misha'ima. Does that mean to say there's someone that's Cholik? The rabbis mistapik. Efshe Kulei Am Loidim B'Zeh. Eine Mechaber says Yesh Mishayim. That's not shver. Mechaber all over says Yesh Mishayim, and the place can say if he found the halacha one rishon, he quotes it as Yesh Mishayim. It doesn't mean to say anyone argues. But it sounds like from the rabbi that's not partially. He has a tzad to say that there is a machlekes because he holds it the steamus of the Mechaber earlier that was a mechalik is mashma that the Mechaber holds that Meshamshem Apater even. Not b'shas when the chayil is being mishamish. Or HaShulchan reads the chlor that there's 2 days over here. So the feed the reinu, you can say what's the machlokes? If the PTUR is Isaac mitzvah for shteitzach, the PTUR Isaac mitzvah is only b'shas when he's being Isaac. Mashenkein, when he's not being Isaac, you don't have a PTUR, even though he's waiting, but you can't say he's Isaac mitzvah. But if the PTUR is teishu came to duru, avada, just like the chayil goes out, avada mishamsha goes out, his job is to sit there and wait that the chayil might need him. And if it's mitzad, mitzdair also, you could say that Maisi is in a matter that he's going to say the mitzdair. Interesting, the HaShulchan says that if you hold up Torah mitzvah, potter mitzvah, he says that what's a sad to say that you can pat him even if he's not being Isaac. So he says it must be that the PTUR is Teishu Kein Duru, and the machlekes is how by Teishu Kein Duru patters you only b'shas ma'aser, only afterwards. But Lulid Varv, you could say faket. Maybe that's good for the machlekes. But Hami is the Mechaber brings down this Yesh Mishayim and the Mishabura paskins like the Shita that it's only beis the Mishamish, which really stims the Mishabura Shita is really partial that way because again the Mishabura holds up to Isa Mitzvah Pater Mitzvah. If it's Isa Mitzvah Pater Mitzvah, versteht it's only Bishosh Shadi Mishamish. And the Mishabura brings down from the Shari Tshuva that if it's two Mishamshin, you don't need both. So versteht then you only, each one should, when the other one's being mishamish, the other one should go eat in the sukkah. It's very negaya. Sometimes someone has a kid in the hospital, and I got the shadow numerous times. People have a kid, let's say, in the hospital, shop, somewhere else, and the husband and wife are there with the child. Okay, so the wife could watch the child while the husband goes and eats. So you wouldn't have a PTUR. Now the rabbi says that so I bring the Mishnah Berurah. Maybe Chodesh Yesh Zakon is in the Chiyah, but it doesn't discuss what happens if there's two Mishamish. He just says that even Ein Tzorech. It's Mistabra, that Avada, he's just saying that even if you don't need Tzorech, but Bishlama by Cholah, She'em B'Sakona, Dira PTUR, just Isaac Mitzvah, Potter Mitzvah. So if it's Ein Tzorech, right now Avada there's no PTUR. But a Chodesh Yesh Zakona, Avada, you have to be around in case the Chodesh is going to eat you, and it goes to Mitzad, but if there's someone else that could take care of the job, I think the pashtus would be that you wouldn't have heter, and that's what I tell them. Such a case that about it he should go down and eat. So upon him, what comes out, the rain will come out. We have here two separate PTUR. Let's just make a sikkim, and then we'll just go through some practical applications of it. We have one PTUR of a chayla. The PTUR of a chayla is patas teishu kein deduru. The PTUR of a chayla is a chayla sheyesh b'sakana, chayla she'em b'sakana, or meichesh. All these cases is pater als teishu kein deduru. Then we have a PTUR b'shamsheh chayla. Someone's been mishamish the chayla. That person is pater on all these cases. Why is he pater? So Mishabura says Isa Mitzvah Pater Mitzvah. Other Achronim say that the reason why he pater is als teishu kein deduru, because just like the chayla has to take care, has to go out, to the Mishamish chayla goes out. And third malach to say is that it's pater out mistayer. That's the third way to learn what the PTUR would be. The PTUR would be mitzad mitzdayer. And we said the common afkamin is between the sod. And we said also, if you want to clarify, if being arrived now a sugya mitzvah rabbanon Patas, Mr. Raisa, Charibika Chaylim, taking care of Chaylim is only Mr. Rabbanah. The teretz is that if you go that the PTUR is mistayir, rotation can't do, there's no right from our sukkah. But even if you hold like a Mishnah Berurah, you could say that even though it's a mitzvah rabbanon, the mitzvah rabbanon is only how you mekayim the mitzvah. But about you get a kiyum b'hafter recha k'maycha. Like upon him, so we have here a PTUR of chayla and mishamshe. So I just want to give some practical cases of mishamshe chayla, cases that have come up over the years, and a case that would be thought that's mishamshe chayla. Many times you have a woman after birth, and she needs a husband to be around to help her for whatever she needs. Or the same case, she needs the husband to help her with the baby. It's hard for her to get out of bed in the middle of the night, and the husband has to hand her the baby, put it on the bed, or make the bottle for the baby, something like that. So that versteht sich whatever heter. The same thing, a lot of times, let's say a woman is not feeling well, and the husband has to take care of the baby. So taking care of the baby also, that's like misham shechayla. A child is considered the chayla shem b'sakana. So the avada that's called the misham shechayla. Many times you have someone has a lot of kids, and the woman, the shrach, whatever it is, whatever the situation is, she can't take care of the kids, and she can't wake up for the kids because during the night, and these kids wake up every hour, someone else is waking up. So if the woman can't do it for whatever reason, so then the husband has to do it. That's called misham shei hachayla. And upon him, that's what comes out. So we have a heter sai for chayla and sai for misham shei hachayla. Okay, HaRav.